Welcome back to the Too Much Hockey Podcast presented by Kentwood Ford. I'm your host, Joshua Marshall, and we have two very special people joining us today. We have a very special co-host, and we'd like to welcome him in first. He is Pastor Brett from Saints Church here in Alberta and the Edmonton area. He has I think there's three locations, Pastor Brett, that you have in the city of Edmonton. Welcome you to our 2 months podcast. Thank you for joining us. How's it going?
Hey, it's an honor to be here. Always good to hang out with you, man, and excited for the conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna have a great one, and our guest is joining us for the very first time. He's played 246 regular season games in the National Hockey League, where he went on to score 5 goals, 33 assists for 38 points. He's also played 33 playoff games in the NHL too, and he is back for his third tour with the Calgary Flames. His third time with the Calgary Flames. We like to welcome Joel Hanley. Nacho, how's it going?
Thank you for having me. No, I appreciate it. This is our first time like officially meeting, so it's great to meet you guys and great to be with you guys.
Yeah, we've had some good chats and some good texts and whatnot. So it's kind of good to build that up. And we're going to talk about some great conversations in terms of hockey and how that's going and where things are at now. And Pastor Brett and Joel Hanley are going to do some great conversations on tying into their faith and how that is. As a lot of us, our listeners, do know that regulars do know that we do a lot of talking about our faith and how much we love God and in the path that Jesus has taken us on in our life. So, but before we get into that, Nacho, this interview is going to be brought to you by our friends at Martelou Barbershop in Calgary. I know you know Nick and the team there, and the guys in the Flames go down to see Nick a lot. So the first question I have for you is, how cool is it to kind of have a great barber in terms of Nick and taking care of the team? I know Jonathan Huberdeau might be the guy that goes there the most and gets that fresh cut fade, but I think you and Hudson, your son, were in there just before the season ended or whatnot. So how's that going for you guys? And how do you guys like Nick and that team that they get to take care of you guys, make them looking fresh?
Yeah, they do a great job. I to be honest, like I need to go in there more. Like I usually wait way too long before I go in and get my hair cut, and I don't do a good job at keeping my hair up like Hubie does. But I think they do an amazing job and they take care of us so well. And I remember like you said, my son and I went in there and they cut my hair, and then my son was sitting there just taking all the jerseys, and they have a lot of sticks and jerseys of former players, so it's really cool to go in there and see like it's just a representation of the city and the culture they have in Calgary.
Yeah, it's a pretty great one. Another question I got for you too is when we had Kevin Rooney on, I think you guys you guys sat next to each other on the plane and whatnot. And I don't know if I ever heard the backstory of why your nickname is Nacho, but I know Rune's always told us to make sure when we get you on to get that story. So before we kind of jump into all the fun stuff too, and it's obviously fun. What's the backstory on the nickname Nacho?
So I guess it started in Austin, Texas, where I was on Dallas's farm team,
Mhm.
and the coach there, Derek Laxdal, I think he's now the coach of the Coachella the team in Coachella. Anyways, he was the coach, and like for half the season, he kind of called me Joe. And like I just never corrected him, so like he just continued to call me Joe, and during meetings he'd call me Joe. And then I ended up getting called up to Dallas that year. I was there for about a couple weeks, and then he actually got promoted as well. So he was up with the team. He was doing meetings with the team, and during one of the meetings, he was just kept calling me Joe, and it was about like a week, and then finally, like after one of the meetings, Jamie Benn like stepped in and was like, his name's Joel. It's not Joe. It's Joel. So then it kind of just stuck. Like it was not Joe, not Joe, Joel. So that's kind of how it stuck.
That's funny. I know
Yeah.
Elliot Friedman. I don't know if you've ever heard him talk. I think he's always referred to as Thomas Harley at two. Or
Yeah.
he even did it at the Four Nations. So
Yeah, I saw
Elliot,
that.
yeah,
My
Elliot,
friends were sending me that. That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. And Elliot's a funny guy. So
Yeah.
it's funny how that kind of works at times. But uh,
Yeah.
obviously, Nacho, you have like a path where the perseverance, dedication, and working hard and getting to this league, undrafted, but playing 246 games in counting, and obviously last year playing 53, which was a career high for you. You came back into Calgary and it took a bit of time, but once your name, and I know I heard you talking with Aaron Vickers and Pat Steinberg, and just coming into the locker room and seeing your name next to Mackenzie Weegar and being a top four defenseman. Can you talk about a bit about how that year was for you last year, and obviously being a bit of a healthy scratch to start the year, but once your opportunity came, you never looked back, and the great role model for yourself, but also for, other kids looking up at all levels of the game in hockey and even in life where, when you get that opportunity, you never look back.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think a lot of my career, like I've told this to a couple, but like a lot of my career, I was always like the seventh defenseman, and I just wanted to, like, when I was there, like I was in the NHL, and I was like, this is like, obviously amazing, and I just wanted to be the best like seventh defenseman like there was. So I like that was my job, that was my role. So I just wanted to be really good at that. So I just did everything I could, whether that was, being a good teammate. And a lot of the times you're obviously not playing. So just working really hard in practice. So when you get your opportunity, you're obviously ready to play. So I think I developed a perception maybe of my game and myself. And maybe that kind of hindered me. I'm not sure. But I think it developed like some good, aspects of just working hard when you're not playing and obviously trying to be prepared and stuff. So yeah, it's like when obviously I got that opportunity, it was just obviously really cool. And I think it took a little time for me to like maybe redevelop who I was, I guess, as a player, and just not view myself maybe as that seventh defenseman and stuff, but I actually could. And I think like growing up and even like throughout my career, I kind of knew I wanted to give more. I knew I could give more as like a player and stuff, but it's hard. Obviously, there's so many good players, and there's it's tough to obviously like get that role and stuff. So when just being able to get that role and kind of run with it, and obviously playing with Weeks was awesome, and he's obviously such a good player. So just developing that confidence in each other, and we kind of grew, I think, as a pairing throughout the season, and yeah, it was just a great experience, and it was awesome for sure.
Yeah, and as you said in your year-end presser, you're at the time you're 33, and you said you're a young 33 and now a young 34. Coming back for 2 more seasons with this group. I'm going to talk about that, but also talk about obviously earlier in the year when I was in Calgary, I got the opportunity to ask Kuska at a press conference about the play that you've had earlier in the game, that game, and you kept the play alive. You didn't get an assist on the play, but it's keeping that play alive and reading defensively. I know that clip, maybe you might have heard that. I think we were texting, and you said you were driving home with your parents and listened to it. But just that self-belief that Ryan Huska has in you, and the great comments that he said about your game, and just how, I guess for a player, it's pretty nice to hear your head coach speak to you in the way that he did. And even looking at him, like I knew it was genuine because I'm about 10 feet away from him asking him that question, and he just lit up the Christmas tree too. And the respect that you guys have together as a player and a coach too.
Yeah, no, like I appreciate you asking him that question, because it's great to sometimes when you're in a role. I mean, I at that point I wasn't, but sometimes when you're in the role of the seventh defenseman, you're throughout the season, I guess you don't feel as important or as valued because you're not being used as much. So it's obviously like when he was speaking, and he was obviously really positive. So it's nice to hear, obviously, as a player, and you're getting some feedback. A lot of times throughout the season, you don't get as much feedback, as you have to deal with like 23 different players. So sometimes you don't hear from, and I'm a quiet guy, so we don't speak a ton, but we have a great relationship, Huska and I, and I think he's done such a great job with the team, and obviously he's such a big part of obviously the Flames and the success that we had last year, and I think we'll continue to have. Yeah, he's super communicative, and he's very obviously passionate, but he's a great communicator, and he gets his message across well, and I think the guys really bought into what he was preaching, and I think that was a big reason of why we were good last year.
Yeah, you can't say it well enough. Like the
Mm-hmm.
pulse of the team, and obviously what a great staff you guys have there, and too, and Trent coming back,
Yeah.
and also Coach Larson coming back too.
Yeah.
and the rest that there's on that staff. It's a great group of people.
Yeah.
This will be a tie-in to being pretty much given back to and give us a good. Sorry, this will be a good segue to Pastor Brett. And I just love the videos that you post of Hudson, that whether they're golf or they're hockey.
Awesome.
And I know you guys got a new one too, but
Huh.
I know we were texting too, going back to a lot of times you and I with our texts, but the video that you posted on your Instagram story with Hudson scoring, and then the next night you came out and scored too, and we kind of said
Awesome.
that's God's work. How cool is it to be a father for him and in your newborn? I know, even going back, I was thinking this last night. I was like, the year you had was such an amazing year, and you guys also brought a new baby to the picture too, and how
Mhm.
focused and dedicated you are. You
Mhm.
can't do it alone. The support you get from your wife too and your family
Mhm.
is obviously important as well too, but the support you get from God as well.
Mhm. Oh, that's awesome. Like you said, I think my wife is obviously she's such a big part of what I do, and from all the wives out there, they're such a big part of it. Especially having two kids, and we're kind of away from home a little bit. Like she's with them all the time, so um, I know, like when we had Millie, she's our youngest. She like the night before games, like I would kind of ask Kate if I could sleep in the other room, just because like she was up like all the time. So like the night before games, I was able to sleep in a different room and kind of get my sleep that I needed for the game. And then kind of after the game, I would try to help her out as much as I could, and just not miss out on anything. But yeah, she's such a big supporting wife for me, and I just love being a dad, honestly. So like like with those videos, like I just love posting him, because he just like has so much joy, and she brings them to like a lot of the games and stuff. So like they'll come to the glass, and you just see how like pumped up he is, like to like to be there, and like to see the games. And then like I come up to the glass, and you see like his face light up. So like those are just like awesome moments that like I want to give to my kids. And yeah, like I just like I remember before I was even a dad, like I would try to like obviously even like a husband too, like I was like took it very seriously. And I tried to do as much like reading and listening to podcasts, and just so when the time came, I just wanted to be a good husband and a good dad. So something I'm working on, and hopefully I can continue to be that.
You're an amazing guy, Nacho. So we can definitely see that and tell that. And very well said, Pastor Brett. I'll toss the mic over to you, and you can take it home here.
It sounds great. So professional hockey obviously is physically demanding. It's mentally intense.
Mhm.
How has your faith anchored you, as you're going through highs, lows of your career?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, like there's so many, like you said, and like throughout the season, there's so many highs and there's so many lows. It's kind of like almost like a roller coaster. Like you'll have a good game and you'll have a bad game, and you're not playing, and then you score. So it's like this. So I think honestly, obviously having my family there, and to keep me grounded, and they do a great job. I think for me, like I think sometimes I'm too like I get my confidence sometimes isn't as good. So I think they do a good job at like keeping positive, and obviously having a faith is super important, because I honestly I know that regardless of how I play, or regardless of what happens, I know that God loves me, and I know that He's there for me. Just like the hope that we have obviously in him. And so it doesn't matter at the end of the day, if I score, if I don't, or if I'm playing. I know that that God loves me, and my family loves me.
Yeah, I love that. So, how would you say that, you're talking about being a dad, being a husband. How has, being a husband and father changed the way that you think about maybe your faith, and maybe the way you think about like legacy in the life that you're living?
Yeah, I don't know if it's changed. I think like I said before, kind of like I took it very seriously, becoming like a husband and a father. So I just want to I want to leave that with my kids, obviously, so when they grow up, and they could do the same things. And I just want to like honestly reflect some of, Christ's characteristics. And so if I can leave that with my kids and my family, that would be a job well done, I'd say.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, so thinking about like young athletes, I mean, obviously we got lots that are watching, they want to, they're hanging on every word. A locker room can be a tough environment,
Mhm.
different times.
Mhm.
What would you say to a young athlete who's in competitive environments and they're trying to keep their faith alive, but there's all kinds of things going on, all kinds of pressures that are
Mhm.
on that, maybe
Mhm.
you know, distractions or just things that would kind of pull them off the path. What would you say to a young athlete who's just grinding it out,
Yeah.
trying to stay on that path?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like I think when I was younger it was honestly harder because there's a lot of different temptations and a lot of different I guess opportunities to go different ways. And I think I don't know if this is I don't know if this is good, but I think like just being yourself and doing and when I say like being yourself, I just mean like if you're like obviously a Christian and like going to church and praying and have a relationship with God, I think just like don't be afraid of that. And people, I think as you get older, people maybe when you're younger, you're trying to like you're not trying to like maybe ruin your reputation or maybe your status. So you're trying to like maybe fit in a little more, whether that's you're going out with the guys and stuff. But honestly, like I think as you grow and as you get older, like, you're not as afraid to maybe share certain things. And for me personally, like I've noticed like I'm not great in group environments, so like I'd rather like sit down one on one with someone and maybe share my faith that way. And I know people are different and are able to share different ways, but that's what I've noticed with me. And but yeah, I would just say like be yourself and don't worry too much about it, and people will see if you're people will see God through you if if you're doing the right things, I'd say.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think, we all know that in hockey, there's, a lot of routine, a lot of rhythm,
Mhm.
guys doing things a certain way,
Mhm.
trying to lock in that outcome. Have you found any like habits or routines spiritually that help you stay kind of anchored or rooted in your faith?
Yeah, for sure. I think throughout my career, I think I've had highs and lows with my faith. That like sometimes I'll be reading my Bible every day and I feel like I'm super solid. And sometimes I'll go through droughts where I don't feel God as much and I'm maybe not in the word as much. So I think honestly having like in Calgary, I've had like a great mentors, and there's a local pastor that's helped me a ton this year, and we were able to meet like once a week. And I think that helped me a lot. So I think just having people kind of in your corner to like keep you on track is really helpful. I try every morning to obviously like do a devotional, and I definitely feel better and feel sharper and feel closer to God when I'm doing those things. And definitely try to pray and talk to God as much. Like sometimes I would just pray before bed, but honestly, it's more so about, I think for me, I've noticed just like throughout the day, like whether like I'm in the car, just like little things, like just trying to talk to God as much as I can. Those are just little things that I've found helpful, I guess, with me.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's amazing that you can be you, be who you are, be a man of faith, be a good dad and be locked in and still be a high performing athlete. Because I think sometimes we think you can't be those things, right? That you got to kind of choose one or the other. So I
Yeah.
think it's amazing. You're a great role model
It's
and a
awesome.
great model for young athletes moving forward. So appreciate
Awesome.
the time. Big boss, what do you got for us to land the plane?
Yeah, I guess we got a little bit more time left. Obviously, let's go back to kind of you coming back to Calgary and that unfinished business.
Mhm.
I know it was a year that you guys wanted a better outcome, but
Mhm.
How excited are you to get back with this group and in more or less, I guess, Nacho, the culture and the standard that has been set with this organization? Obviously, I'm very biased. We have a media pass at the Calgary Flames. They've done a lot for our podcast alone, and there's a lot of great people in in terms of like the Sean Kelsos, the Jordy Bay. We got Peter Hanlon. Connie's really good. Huska's been on
Mhm.
the podcast too. Backs, but just that culture, you going back, and how excited you are for this upcoming season to get things rolling with this group.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah, I think like I guess the story last year was we didn't have a ton of expectations, and I guess we kind of proved people wrong, and so I guess like just coming into this year, I think the expectations will be a little bit higher, and I think that's super exciting. A lot of the same guys are coming back, and I think as a group, we're just really excited to get out there and just prove people what we did like what we did last year wasn't a fluke. And I know like there's so many guys in that locker room that are like just ultra competitive, and I just wanted to be a part of that moving forward. And like you were talking about with all like the great people in the organization, I felt the same way. And I the Calgary kind of reminds me a little bit of like where I grew up, like it's just like 'cause it has that small town feel, and the people are just so like welcoming and super friendly. And I just love like I love like my commute to the rink. It was like really close and really like relaxing. And yeah, it's just a great city and a great team. And I'm just really excited to see what we can do.
Yeah, and the young players that you guys have brought in, and guys like Matt Coronado and obviously Zari, and there's a lot of great players there. How cool is it to kind of play with that youthful group that you guys have too, in terms of seeing that the future is bright when you see your organization draft and develop the way they have.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Like the guys you mentioned, Coronado and Zary, like those guys are just like great humans and great people, and obviously you guys know what they can do on the ice. So I think just having those guys, and even Wolfie, like just like being around like those younger guys, like being an older guy, it's like I don't feel like my age. So like I think those guys like kind of keep me young. And it's just really fun to be in that environment. And yeah, the guys coming up, like I think Calgary has done a great job at obviously drafting. And I think honestly that's how you as a team and an organization, that's honestly I think how you have to like get better. And just having that internal competition of the young guys coming up, and hopefully the older guys helping out too. And it's a great culture there, and it's fun to be a part of.
Yeah, it's quite the place, and and you said something earlier too. It's like that culture where you go out. I've seen it firsthand where some of the players have out in public doing something or just going to the mall or whatnot, and the respect that they have from the fan
Hmm.
base, or the acknowledgement on each side, but also letting them know that just a head nod or good luck is kind of a cool thing. I think
Yeah,
Calgary's great that way in terms of seeing that and understanding that too. So uh,
yeah,
I'm excited to kind of understand like how it is playing with a guy like Mackenzie Weegar. Like he seems like such a great beauty. We met him earlier this year at a charity event, and as the season was on, and just what a great guy, the way he carries himself. But the
yeah,
pairing you guys had was top notch. You guys locked it down, and helping him get to where he probably wants to in terms of the putting himself on Team Canada's radar. But the way you guys just read off each other, the way you guys understand the plays, the understanding, and in terms of like, and I understand Huska does a lot of video going into games and stuff like that. So and how great it is to kind of build that what you guys see in video in terms of emulating that throughout a game sequence as well too.
yeah, yeah. I think Mackenzie, he's I think I've only been there for a few years, but honestly, I've seen like I think I've seen not only his game grow on the ice, but like off the ice. Like even his like interviews, he's so like well spoken, and he's like it just seems like he's really coming into his own. That's just what I see. And um, obviously on the ice, you guys know like what he can do, but he's such a big part of the locker room. He like the leadership group. I think he's such a big part of that, and he speaks up when he has to. He's very he'll say what needs to be said, and he's just ultra competitive. He's in practice he's the same way, and I think like an underrated part of his game is he's a dog out there. He's just so competitive, and he wins all of his battles, and obviously he's so good with the puck too. But yeah, it was fun to obviously play with him, and him being like in the conversation for Team Canada is obviously super special for him, and I think it would be great to have someone from Calgary on Team Canada, and I think he's such a I think he would be a perfect fit there.
And you got Ras with the representation at Sweden, so obviously some great players there too. So
Yeah.
Let's finish up on that. Let's what a great podcast this was. So you appreciate you taking the time to join us, Pastor Brett, as well, too, taking the time to join us. I think the conversation was really, really great. I don't know, Pastor Brett, I'm going to put you on the spot, but is there a prayer you could have to close us out for Joel and his family and any listeners listening as well, too? So
yeah, sure, my pleasure. Let's take a moment to pray. So God, I'm just grateful for this opportunity to talk about the ups and downs, the highs and lows. Doesn't matter what season of life we're in, what we're doing for work, or what we're doing with our lives. There's highs and lows, and we're anchored in you and your firm foundation. So I thank you for Joel and the incredible impact that he's having. I pray for his family. I just pray blessings on them in the days ahead as they come into this new season. And God, for every person that's watching, Lord, I just pray that there would just be a deep sense of hope in their hearts, understanding that there's something bigger than the game. There's something bigger than what we're going through right now, and that you can carry us through, and that our identity is not found in what we do, but in who we are and who we are because of you. So I thank you for this opportunity, and I thank you for every person that's with us on this journey. And I just pray a prayer of blessing and hope for them in this moment, and in the season to come. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much, and all the best, Joel. And we'll catch up in person in Calgary and throughout the year as well, too, buddy.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Brett.